How you doing? This is Coach D and it's Code 31. Interviews on demand, Zoom edition. And we have a very special guest. Introduce yourself, young man.
How you doing? T, it's me, man. My name is T, but people, it's just T, but my name is T.
Okay, so what happened with the name change?
Oh, well, I've actually had a couple of rap names since I started rapping. And the name originally comes from, when I first started rapping, it was like freshman year in high school. And I had this class called the advisory. It was basically where all the kids, it's basically not like a free period, but the kids who have like things to work on, they had this class. It's called the advisory. So I guess the teacher didn't really want to do nothing that day. So the assignment was everybody write a rap. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I wrote the rap, and then like the gag was, he said everyone has to perform it in front of the class for their grade. So I had performed my rap in front of my class, and a good friend of mine had told me like, yo, bro, we should do this together. Like, so we that whole year we was trying to like we became a group, and the group originally was called Supreme Mob, right? But then I thought like, why would the name be Supreme Mob? Supreme is a clothing brand already an established place. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I kept the name Supreme T
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we had changed the name to Nova Gang. That was the first rap group I was a part of originally.
Okay.
Things happen and situations change, so I was no longer, not like I'm no longer Nova Gang. It's NG forever, but I'm in a class by myself now. Not no slight to those guys, but they're doing their thing. I'm doing my thing. So it was Supreme T, and I was like, I still didn't like the name Supreme because of the brand, and it was somebody else's entity. So I
Mm-hmm.
just changed it to T. But since I just changed it to T, I felt like T was so by itself. It wasn't, and then there are so many others just T's, but this is just T. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So first I want to say today is a special day, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Today is Papa's birthday. So I felt like this would be very significant to do it 12, 13, 21 at 12:01
Mm-hmm.
to represent
Mm-hmm.
for Papa.
Big 13.
I
That's
also
great.
have my Uncle Mark's Hillcrest. I don't know if you can see it, but his
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sweatshirt. So we need that energy from Uncle Mark for this interview. So my first question is, you used to love basketball, wrestling, and
Mm-hmm.
playing drums. At what point did you say hip hop and rap is the lane that I want to take?
Well,
And when did you take it serious?
okay, so I like wrestling at a young age because I was introduced to wrestling by my late great Uncle Mark. You know what I'm saying? He came through one day, excuse me, to my grandfather's house and just put wrestling on the TV. That's just how it started. So when I was younger, I wanted to go to the WWE. That was the call. I'm like, well, I wanted to be Jeff Hardy. I was wrestling with, my classmates and friends but then it never really materialized for me. Like I did wrestling for a little bit, but it never, stuck. Um, Drumming and music is a part of my upbringing. Like my aunt, she's a drummer. She was a drummer. She had taught me a little 1-2 and 1-2 when I was younger. And I had, stuck with it. Now when I had my first experience like behind the actual drum was a djembe. It's an African drum that you beat with your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because I was in this group called the Stepping Angels, it was like a dance group because the boys played drums and the girls dance predominantly. So that was how I first was introduced to the drumming. And in church, because I was playing the djembes, they had the actual, set, the regular drums. So I would, fiddle with it like I was good. And they had a drummer for the church at the time. His name is David. And he would, teach me a little here's and there's and little lessons. So I kind of stuck with it and got okay. So by the time I'm going to say that was around, I'm going to say 10, 12, when I kind of got serious, not like serious about drumming, where I was really acclimating all of the things. So from about 10 to 14 is when I was really learning all of the drumming, the aspects of drumming. And then by the time I got to high school and I found out that my high school, originally, let's actually backtrack. Originally, I wanted to go to one of the gifted high schools, like Benjamin Cardozo, Bayside, Frank Sinatra. I did not have the grades for those schools. If there are any kids watching, the grades are very important.
Definitely.
At every level, grades are important. I will be a living testament to not having the grades for certain opportunities, but having the talent. And in some cases, and I'm not saying this, so it's like, oh, I might get it. In some cases, they look at you. I didn't say they take you. They look at you because you have the talent. But if the grades don't follow, you are nothing. then there's no such thing as a talented dummy. All right, it's impossible. It's no such thing.
Mhm.
So when I got to high school, I had ran straight for the snare drum because it was a marching band at my school. So I had ran. I actually play a couple of instruments. I played saxophone, flute, clarinet, things like that growing up. But the drums I was the best at. Like that's what stuck to me. So by the time I got to high school, I wanted to play the snare drum. But jokingly, I picked up the quad. It's 4 drums that are different in pitch. And I
Mhm.
picked the quad up. And my drum instructor said, I like you on this. Like, I like how you look. I like how you feel. So I learned that drum through high school and I ended up being lead quad all 4 years I could stay on academically.
Mhm. Okay, and so like I said, back to the rapping though.
Mhm.
When did you take it serious and say, okay, this is something I can really do?
Well, as far as rapping, when I started rap, like through my childhood, I wrote raps here and there. It was never nothing seriously to be taken. You know, kid, like, you know, it wasn't like I want to be famous. But by the time I didn't take rapping serious until I realized I was good at it. And in most people's cases, they never can get over the hump of their self. Like nah, I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not good enough to compete with my peers. This person is better than me. I don't want to do that. But I was always a person that this person is better than me. I'm about to get better than them. Like I was never a person that was complacent being second or complacent being. I never was easily swallowed by problems that were brought to me ever really. Not to toot my own horn. It's just I never was one of those people who go cry in the corner. That's just not me. So as far as rapping, when I was able to get confident in myself with it, like, okay, you can actually do this here. You know what I'm saying? You can actually, like, I'm not concerned about people's opinion because I know what I'm going for and things of that nature. Like when I was able to completely stand behind myself, that's when I got serious. I'm gonna say around 17, 18 is what I'll say.
Mhm.
17, 18.
And I noticed that on Noah Cairo, you talk a lot about your mom. You talk a lot about, you even have Jonathan on there. That like, what? How did you formulate this EP and say these are the songs that are perfect for this project?
Noah Cairo came out in either July or I don't remember what month it came out. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm gonna spitball and say September. I had Noah Cairo done since July. Like the tape was done, songs were mixed, ready to go since July. And I had since July to September to listen to it every day, to have my little finicky picks with it, to say I don't like this, I want to change this. Matter of fact, I'm bugging. I love this. Like to be confident in it wholeheartedly as a project all the way through. Like as my second project. Now the title, let's just get into the project itself. The project is called Noah Cairo because I had a son recently. His name is Noah Cairo. And I can't help but smile every time I say it because the kid just he just makes me, I can't even describe it in words how this kid makes me feel. Like he can't even formulate words yet. Like, you know what I mean? And the reason why I called it Noah Cairo was because it was basically all the events that led up to him being born. And it was a series of events that led up to him being born. Now, the first track is called Jonathan's Song. We won't dive too much into it right this second, but Jonathan was a friend of mine I grew up with in church. Like in church every Sunday, seeing this man. He was a very devout Christian, like heart on his soul, heart on his soul, soul on his sleeve. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it wasn't afraid to tell you he praised God either. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And me as a person who battles with, my faith in certain aspects, I really was envious of that. You know, like he could sing, dance, act, whatever, cook, whatever you needed from he could do. And he lost his life tragically in a car accident
Mm-hmm.
a little bit before my son was born. And he was the same age as my sister, he was 25. He wasn't, and it's like for a person who had, so much to live for,
Mm-hmm.
taken out tragically and just abruptly like that. And I felt, and prior to him passing away, he had told me he would do something for me in the studio because Jonathan could sing really well, and I had plans with him. And obviously we never got to put that together, but I felt like it was a good way to honor him with him being the first track on my tape because it was like he sets the tone.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to play any of your stuff while we're on this interview?
Probably not during the interview. Probably not during the interview.
Okay.
I'll say all the links to my stuff and we'll get there.
All right. Well, what made you do Sideline Story?
Oh, sideline stories.
I feel myself just, I got that one on repeat right now.
Sideline story, ironically enough, was the name of the beat I used. That's why the song is called Sideline Story, because that is the name of the beat I used.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sideline Story really is about wanting things and not having things. You know what I'm saying? Like wanting to be able to take care of things, but not being able to take care of it because of your situation. Wanting like adversity coming your direction, but you're not being phased by it really. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Like a line in that is, let me tell you about my sideline story. Had to get it out the mud because I ain't had no one to buy mine for me. Because like even when my mom was alive, it's not like I was devoid of anything, but she didn't have everything for the extras, the glamorization, the material things. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying she couldn't take care of it, but it just wasn't always in the cards. But so but that being, it helped me not grow up materialistic. You know what I'm saying? Like to a fault almost. But that's really what sideline story is about. It's just, you know, even though we want these things and we can't have them, we're gonna get them.
All right. And speaking of your upbringing, how did that formulate the man that you have become today?
Okay, so I'm gonna say I was brought up in my grandparents' house from 0 to 22. Like from 0 to 22, I was brought up in my grandparents' house. They not like they were no nonsense people, not like they just ruled, you know, iron whip, spoiled the rot, but like we had opportunities. We weren't devoid of nothing. We had cooked meals every night. You know what I'm saying? Like except for when they, you know, ordered out. But my grandfather really was the, you know, I'm gonna do schoolwork. I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna stay up. You know, my grandmother was still working at the time while we were young, so she had to, you know, sleep during the days because her shift was at night. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of also set a precedent to me to be retired and be taken care of by a certain age, because that's what they did. Like by the time I was born, my grandfather was retired. By the time, like, you know, I was entering my teen years, my grandmother was retired. So it was like they were pretty much done working and only had to, you know, live to survive and handle their business. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they set a great precedent. As far as the upbringing, it was, you know, I had my grandmother ain't play about nothing. My grandfather was more the spoken aspect of things. He talked to you. My grandfather wasn't, but my grandmother gave you 3 chances. Like she called it 3 strikes. And, you know, sometimes it depended how bad the aspect of the strike was, but it was a 3-strike rule. But on that third strike, you getting whooped every time, because you let it, you had to, you went past 1 and 2. And there was there was never no talking out of it, nothing. You would have already blew your first 2. That's it.
Okay. What are some of your influencers in your life?
In my life right now, like as far as people
now, you was growing up, give me your top 5. You have 5.
Personally, or as far as music?
Together.
Oh wow.
Or
Oh
do it
man.
separate. Do it separate.
Okay,
Personal,
so
top 5. Personal,
personally in
music.
no order.
No.
Personally in no order, and then it will pop account as one person. I don't care what no one tells me.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna say my Auntie Dee, no, for no reason in particular, but I'll get into that. I will get into that. And I would say it like that anyway. In no order, Auntie Dee, my mother, Nana and Papa, my sister Jasmine, and my Uncle Mark. But
Okay.
like, yeah.
Right.
Would you like to get into that real quick?
Yes,
Why?
get into
Okay, so I'm gonna start with my mother, obviously, because every majority hardship and any like challenges I faced, I was with her. She was with me. You know what I'm saying? Like no
it.
matter what, it was me and her. Like that's like my mother taught me about loyalty by accident. Like it wasn't even like, not like she didn't plan on it, but it was just the way she'd act in situations where her back is against the wall and all we had was each other. Not like we didn't have family or, you know, helping nothing, but when it was me and her in those situations, it was me and her in those situations. Or just her. Like, you know what I'm saying? If she could not have me in those situations, it would just be her. You know what I'm saying? That's just a short, like I could talk about my mother all day, but that's just a short analogy of why she's there. And they don't Papa because they have never in my life told me nothing wrong. They have never in my life done anything for selfish gain or just because it'll make them look good, or just because it'll sound good, or just because it'll give them some points with the man upstairs. Never. Like nothing in my life ever, whether it was advice, money lending. They put me through private school. Like, you know what I'm saying? They put me in private school, drumming lessons, wrestling, like like anything that I could maintain, they were supportive of. Anything that was productive or positive, they were supportive of all the time. All the time. Like it was never None of that. And also if the grades supported it. If you ain't got no grades, you can't get nothing. Can't do nothing extracurricular.
And also Nano fought so that you didn't get medicine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was gonna get there. Yeah, so I was a little hyperactive kid. Let me get into that story. I was a little hyperactive kid actually, and my doc, like that's back when they was giving out. They were labeling kids like nothing. Like it was nothing to get labeled in the system, and they wanted they was I don't remember what it was called, but they were giving basically chill out drugs to kids. You know what I'm saying? And my grandmother had went through serious trials and tribulations to make sure I never went on none of that. And there are people who like let it happen to their kids and just don't, you know. And she had literally went through trials and tribulations to make sure I could just be 100% myself. You know what I'm saying? And also took extra measures to make sure I acted right in public.
Absolutely. The next person on your list?
I said, Nano Papa, oh man. I know Nano and Papa count as one person, but I actually have Nano and Papa tattooed on my forearms. Like it's really that like serious. Like Papa, I still call to this day for advice. Nano, I still call to this day for advice. But like Papa just was my father was not around when I was a kid. But like the reason why I don't hold that against my father is because I was never devoid of nothing with his absence. Like most kids hate their father because their mom was going through it because he wasn't around, and you know they didn't have nothing. I had everything I could have possibly needed. With his absence, with him not being here. You know what I mean? Like I had my grandfather. I never forget it. When I was younger, it's just like I was just talking to my sister about this. We was like 8 and 11 probably, and I was making fun of her because she didn't know who her dad was. And she went and told my grandfather. And my grandfather came and yelled at me like, "Yo, neither of your fathers is up in here with y'all. I'm here. I'm here. I'm cooking. I'm cleaning. We doing this. You in here with me. I want to hear I'm your father." And it's just from a place he didn't have to do none of that for us. We as his daughter kids. He didn't have to love us the way he did and take care of us the way he did and be understanding to things the way he did. He didn't. You know, that's why Papa. Because it was nothing those two have ever done have been for self-glorification. Nothing.
Well, happy birthday to Papa because he's 80 years old today. I think
Papa's
83, 82.
We'll do the math later.
Whatever
We'll do the
number.
math later. Yeah, so we'll do the math later. Absolutely.
All right, and next, Jasmine.
Nah. We'll get to Jasmine last because I'm kind of saying them in order. So Uncle Mark, not like an order, but like Uncle Mark was a very big influence in my life because there were 3 Ellison men me coming up. You know what I mean? It's me, him, and my grandfather. So Uncle Mark was a very influential piece in my life because he was the peacemaker in a sense. He never threw, like, I can't think of a time where I heard he threw fire on something, you know, in a sense where where situations were crazy, or he came and was a bad energy. Like I can't think of a time I've ever heard of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and everything he did for my community and just talks, like, I don't even really want to say talks with him because I was very young, you know, like God rest his soul, my uncle passed away when I was really younger. You know what I'm saying? But like during the time he was here, he was able to tell me things and show me things and try to make things very apparent. You know what I mean? And that's why, because of what he meant to my family also. Like it's not like just our relationship. He was like the glue of my family in a sense. Because when he passed away, my family kind of went their separate ways for a couple of years. Like it just never was the same. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna get into my Auntie Dee. Let me explain why. Because when he passed away, she stepped into his role. Like she stepped into his light, but in her own way. You know what I'm saying? Like not even on some, okay, your uncle's not here, so I got this. Like my aunt didn't have to do that neither. My aunt didn't have to go coach kids. My aunt didn't have to go win championships. She didn't have to go be a voice for the community. She just did that. You know what I'm saying? In his memory, because that's what he would have wanted her to do. She didn't have to take me to Madison Square Garden and the Prudential Center every single weekend of my life. Or when I wasn't doing so good in school, I didn't have to go to the house for weeks upon end and study randomly. Like I'm talking random. I could be eating dinner, just cook dinner. What's the founding father of the United States? Randomly, like. And I somehow mysteriously always did better at school. You know what I'm saying? You know, don't tell mom. But, you know what I'm saying? But another funny story about my Auntie Dee, she never gave me nothing easy either. You know what I'm saying? Never really, like, because whether it was playing basketball on her team or just me wanting to race her down the block as a kid. I never won a race still to this day, by the way. You know, to this day, I'm 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I had to earn minutes whenever I played on her teams. You know what I'm saying? If I messed up, I don't want to say I called it the worst, but I'm supposed to know because you literally live with the offense. So that yeah, definitely 100%.
Yeah,
And Jazz,
you know, you have standards.
yeah,
Better
she always
than
said this name carries
anybody
weight.
else on that team.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
said
yeah.
she always said that the name carries weight. She always said that.
Does. It definitely does. I saw an interview that you did with Auntie Dee on the air, and you mentioned a story about Method Man. You did get the you were 3 years old actually, not 8 or 9. You were 3 years
Really?
old when I took you to meet Method Man. Yes, you were 3.
At the Coliseum Mall?
Small and a very cute little boy. And
Wow.
so that story, you kind of mixed up the age on there, but you got everything else accurate.
Okay, I'm right. I didn't know I was 3. I thought I was about 8 or 9 because that's when
No,
the
you were
menu.
like 3 or 4, and I forgot the store that I took you to, but you were
It
very.
was it's now a CD store. It's like a CD store now. Like right now, it's a CD store.
But what was the name of the store that I took you to get some games from?
Oh, it's GameStop, of course.
Okay,
Oh, it was like yeah.
but it was
I think
another name I think back then, but it was like GameStop. But
yeah.
the funny part about that is I got to meet Method Man again, and I'm gonna have an opportunity to interview him during Meth Lab 3, God willing.
All
So
right.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So how was your experience with Amadeus?
Oh wow, that all right. So great guy. First off, great guy. That's a bad boy producer, actually, former bad boy producer, multi-platinum guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was actually a very good experience because I'm not open to sharing my music to direct critic. Not like direct criticism, but like I'm a person that, like, all right, I can play you songs, but what is it gonna do for me? You understand what I'm saying? And I personally like really appreciated his opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like not whether he liked it or hated it or not, but you know, from a person who's been in the industry, been like around the block, you know, like it's good that a person who has an ear, who also is a drummer, you know what I'm saying? Who has an ear for music, you know, his opinion was, you know, appreciated for real. Talking to him was cool. He's a very nice, God-fearing man, very pleasant dude. He told me he liked my energy, and he was very fond of my music. In fact. If God willing, we'll be working with him in the future. Don't want to give up all the, you know, business, but
Right. Like when I interviewed him and he was telling me he worked with Neo and all these other artists and Trey Songz, and I'm just sitting there like, wow, like I'm interviewing like greatness in the industry. And being a drummer, this is what I asked him as well. Do you feel like you have an extra benefit to hearing like the beats and stuff that you pick for your projects, being that you already are in tune with the beat? Do you feel like being a drummer like increases your impact on your music?
Well, it definitely, in my opinion, it definitely helps you recognize certain things or different things. Like it helps you, yeah, it definitely helps you to recognize certain things or different things. I don't know if I guess that'd be considered an advantage, but like, you know, my drummer's ear, I guess it differs on the type of music you hear, you know, but it definitely helps you, it heightens out different things in different aspects, absolutely.
You have another song. I want to make sure I get the name right. It's called Preach to the Choir.
Oh man.
That one as well. There's a lot of profanity in that song. Preaching to the choir.
Ironically, right.
And give me a little background on that song, and shout out to whoever. You only featured one person on this EP, correct?
Two people.
Okay, so what made you say I want these 2 people on this project and no one else?
Okay, so let's start with Preach to the Choir, right? Preach to the Choir was literally written on the phone. Like that song was written on the phone, basically. I was on the phone with my good friend Ant Books. He's actually I could sit and talk about that man all day also. Like that man is nasty. Nasty. Like I respect him so much as an artist, as a rapper, and as a person. You see what I'm saying? I talk to that guy like every day, literally. You know what I'm saying? And Cassius is another person that's the other person who was featured on the project, who is also a very, very, very nasty artist. Like that man can rap. Those guys can go. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like I don't respect a lot of people as far as music, but I'm talking about how you take it, how serious you take it, what you're willing to go, how far you're willing to go, how far you want to go. And Ant continuously tells me he's the best rapper alive. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like he's saying that to because he wants to believe it. He does believe it. And that actually kind of sparked our friendship. When I met him, he introduced himself as the best rapper alive. And I wasn't even really confident in rapping at the time. So like, as I alluded to before, I'm like, who is this man who thinks he's the best rapper in the world? And I'm rapping and I'm kind of good, but I don't believe in myself. But he just, the first thing he ever said is, hey, I'm the best rapper in the world. Who is, you understand what I'm saying? So I respect that those two guys a lot. Preach to the Choir was written on the phone. I'd say it's one of my more upbeat kind of songs. One of my upbeat kind of songs you can just like feel. You know what I'm saying? I really, really like that song a lot. Books killed that song, by the way.
Let's go back to your personal influences, because you were talking before we got off topic with Method Man. Continue, because you
my last one, yeah, my last one was Jasmine. That's my older sister. She put the mama hat on. My mother passed away. 100%. Like, not on her, like my other sister Athena actually jumped in, you know, the legal process and, you know, other things. But Jasmine, as far as advice from an older person that wasn't so much older than me, like, was great. Like things I just needed to know, things she wasn't letting rock, the money management tendencies, and, you know, just things I needed to know, and things that, you know, is trial and error, falling on your face. What do you do once you fall on your face? Like, she put the mama hat on, like, yo, look, she's gone, but I'm here. Like, you know, what you need, I got you. Like, you know, we ain't have the, you know, the opportunity to be the greatest kids when we was younger, so I'm gonna let you try to live it up right here. I'm gonna let you make your mistakes, but you gotta fix them. Like that, it was, you know, because she also was brought up under the same roof as me. So, you know, she's another person who never led me wrong. You know what I mean? Those are like my influences in my life, absolutely.
All right, now your music influences, top 5.
Top 5, I'm gonna say Meek Mill. I can't put him in no 5, but like Meek Mill, Jay-Z, Dave East, Drake. I probably got to give you more than 5. I'm gonna say Ant Books, 100%. Arius, my guys. That's another guy. He's an artist. Arius. You know,
Well, I heard you say Biggie in another interview. You didn't say Biggie this time.
I know. We'll get there, because really it's New York. Like, you know, like I can't, like, Joey Badass, Biggie Smalls, like the reason being those guys is, the reason Joey Badass and Biggie Smalls is Biggie specifically because he had a flow and a delivery that is predominant today. Like, I can put on a Biggie Smalls song in 2020 and it's still hitting like it did in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Not like I wasn't around, but, you know, like it's just like timeless music in a sense. It doesn't, like, he was flowing different than everyone else back then. Like, as far as rapping goes, storytelling and flow, punchline, metaphor, different than everyone else back then. That's why Biggie Smalls is so like heavily coveted to me. Like, that he kind of just goes without saying. Joey Badass is like a person who is here now, who is flowing like then, like whose flow is unlimited, storytelling, punchline, delivery. And Bugs, my close friend, that boy is on fire. Like, I can't, like, I'll even go listen to his music sometimes for inspiration. That boy is on fire. Arius, another artist who is on fire.
Him in the near future as well.
One more time?
I said, so maybe I need to interview him in the near future as well.
We'll set it up 100%.
That's what I'm looking at. Like, I want this platform to be for the talent that hasn't been approached or reached yet. You know what I mean? Like, so when they on this platform, I could say, yo, I had them on this platform before they really took off. That's what I created the platform for. Okay, so you see in the background, what is the significance of this album cover? What made you pick this particular picture?
So the very handsome young man with the very harsh look on his face is my father. If you couldn't tell, so that's my father actually holding me as a child, and like the look on his face is just like get out my face, like almost ignorant kind of look. You know what I'm saying? Like we chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like it just looks like he was slightly agitated, and I kind of liked it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot going on, but I got my boy in my arms. You know what I'm saying? So Noah Cairo was up like, I feel like in that picture is like, you know, kind of me, what's going on now. My dad got here, I got here, I got a son, he's got a son, and like it's just a lot going on where it just makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Also, my father was back in my life. As I said, he wasn't around when I was younger. He was dealing with his own demons. And again, the reason why I don't hold it against him is because I was never devoid of anything when he wasn't here. You know, he had his problems, he worked it out, but my mother also never talked negatively, at least to me, about him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, and plus, when he came back in the picture, he did his best to stay in the picture and has stayed in the picture and been consistent and doing his best as a person right now. So I can't do nothing but tip my hat to that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So if there's one thing that you would, if you could go back in time and change anything in your life, what would it be?
That's a hard question. The reason being is because my most traumatic experience in my life probably would be my mom passing away. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I would not bring her back is because she don't have to deal with what's going on. She's kind of in a better position than we got going on, and it's a lot of ways my life might have went had she still been here. You know what I'm saying? And you know, whether it's positive or negative, it just didn't play out that way, and this is how it played out. So I'd absolutely leave her where she's at. You know, but as far as change things that I would do that would change my life, I don't know. I think I'm living it right now. I don't think I change anything wholeheartedly. Because you know, if people aren't here, you know, they just weren't meant to be here, and you know they're dealing with they're dealing with what they can deal with right now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Every lesson is done for a reason. Sometimes we don't understand why, but it shapes us as the people that we are today. As you know, I was Uncle Mark's shadow for 38 years, and when he passed, it took a toll. I was in a dark space, and you know, shout out to Riri and everybody else that helped me get out of that dark space. And now that I'm doing media, you know, I feel like he's channeling me to go back into the sports world. That's why I'm doing broadcasting now. And just getting back into high school hoops and meeting all these new young men and hopefully young ladies, and just try to make an impact in their lives and keep his memory going, his legacy going, and hopefully get the Mark Ellison Cougars back up and running. And also, he's an influence on me with the music and everything like that, because I used to be in his apartment on Foch Boulevard, DJing and MCing and seeing all the people coming through his apartment. Like, I met Mikey D and Roxanne Shante, Kid Creole. I didn't meet him, but these are some of the people that Uncle would tell me about, and I'd be like, you don't know no Roxanne Shante. You don't know this one. And then after he passed and I started going down to the city, I actually met Roxanne Shante. I actually met Mikey D. And Mikey D, I interviewed him. I have to edit his. But he would tell me how he got arrested and he would be in the Queen's house. And Uncle would take him out his cell and feed him and let him use the phone. And he said people thought he was a snitch, but he wasn't a snitch. It was just that, you know, Uncle took good care of him. And I hear a lot of people say, like, yo, I was in your brother's jail and he got my sentence reduced. And you know what I mean? Like, his impact is still felt so many years later. So I feel like as his baby sister, I got to continue his legacy. And that's why I instill in you that, you know, God forbid something happens to me, you gotta continue it. We can't let it lapse. So I feel I'm very proud of you. Like, when you first let me hear your music, like, it tripped me out. I tell people this all the time. Like, I'm like, this is you? Because it's like you never really expressed to me, like, okay, I really want to do this music thing. And then for you to let me hear your music beforehand, before you put it out, I'm just like mind boggled. I'm like, this is my nephew. Like, this is my firstborn nephew. Like, I'm just a proud auntie right now. So I just want you to keep it going. Just, you know, I know your faith is not as strong as mine, but just keep your faith in God and just let him lead the way, and keep your passion going, and keep positivity around you, keep the right people around you. And I'm telling you that from experience, because in the 2 years I've been doing this media, you know, people have tried to deceive me and, you know, sabotage things, because One thing I don't want you to do, I don't want you to do no Illuminati, sell your soul, none of that crap. Stay independent and get to the bag. You know what I'm saying? You can do it on your own. You don't gotta cut nobody's throat and do it that way, because karma will be your best friend. So that's the best advice as Auntie Dee that I can tell you. So before you go, let people know your social medias.
Okay, it's really JuSTee on Instagram. Right now, that's where we're rocking with right this second. Everything is coming out. I got a mixtape. I got to take another project. We're not even going to call it mixtape. I got another project coming out. It's called Such Is Life. Noah Cairo was about everything that led up to Noah Cairo being here. But Such Is Life is really about, you know, certain things not working out, certain ways you got to walk and realize it's the wrong way to go. Certain, you know, certain instances where you might have been wrong about certain things and, you know, just questioning life. You know what I'm saying? Not questioning your life, but the way life is going. My dogs got projects coming out. My dogs, Bogs, as I said, and Arius, they got a tape coming out. It's a joint tape. It's called It's Cold. That should be coming out soon. And Bogs is dropping Unlucky and Unstable. That's coming like my dogs is dropping. That's really all I'm saying.
Merch.
Am I doing merch? No, not really. I'm really focused on the music right this second and the visuals. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm gonna get out there and develop my following, and I can't wait to, you know, watch this in like 2 or 3 years to see how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But I'm getting out there with the music to develop the following, and then, you know, the merch will come when it's people to give it to.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself up, like not in the same situation I'm in. Like I see myself in a better situation as far as rap and living. And, you know, I feel like in 5 years, my son will be 5 years old and like have a bank account that's on full, like at 5 years old.
And how do you feel like it changed your life?
How do you feel like, huh?
How do you feel that Noah Cairo changed your life?
He had me. I wasn't really the most cautious human being before Noah Cairo was born. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't the most, I really not like living day to day, but there would be days I forget what day it was. Everyone does, but like I'm really not even paying attention for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking forward to it. The days are the days. And you know, I'm getting to it, but you know, it's no real purpose. There's no real reason.
So now with Noah being here, you feel like that changed your perspective on everything?
100%.
Okay. 100%. And what's the last thing you would want to tell anybody that would pick up the EP and listen to your music? Like, what makes you stand out from the next artist in this generation?
My music right now, sorry to cut you off, is for you to feel. I don't care if I'm not writing no song that's just cause, you know, I'm not whispering on tracks, we're not mumbling on tracks. If you don't like, it's for you to feel. If you don't want to feel nothing, I'm not for you. Like that's really why I rap, even if it doesn't pan out, which it will, but even if it doesn't pan out, but if I make you feel something at the end of the day, that's what makes me feel glory. Like if you can relate to me, even if you can't, even if you're on a completely other different side of the spectrum and you have no idea about what I'm talking about, and it opened your mind to things that go on in other people's life that you didn't even know about. That's what we're here for. That's it.
All right, and where can they get your music at?
Apple Music, Noah Cairo out now. Stream Preaches the Choir on Apple. Preaches the Choir. Preach to the Choir on Apple Music featuring Ant Bugs. Noah Cairo on SoundCloud, but I'd much rather you guys go to Apple Music, and you know, we need that money. Appreciate you.
All right.
You know, Such Is Life on the way. Such Is Life 2021.
All right, before you go, as I have all my guests say your name and say, it's Code 31.
And till you know it's me, man. It's JuSTee, and it's Code 31.
Let's go. Thank you, Trey, for being, it's JuSTee, for being on my platform. Interviews on Demand by Coach D and Code 31. We appreciate you. Much success to you in the future. And you already know what I expect. No sale, let's get it.
No sale.
Love you. Love you. Let's get it.